All right, Mr. Dallas Cowboys fan, it's finally time. We are there. I feel like we've waited about 6 years for the season to start, even though it's been about 6 months. But it's finally here. Y'all are going to be off to a bang, coming in right against the Super Bowl champs. So yeah, this is a lot on the line here. This is We Are the Game. I'm Luke, and that's Michael. We're going to talk about Dallas Cowboys today, and we're going to get into this season a bit more of our team. So this one's going to be about just the Dallas Cowboys. Later on, at some point, we'll talk about these people and get into that. But for today, we're excited to get into the opening, premiering, maiden voyage of the 2025 season, Dallas at Philly. So coming in off of last season, Dallas is 7-10. They make the changes that they make. I'm hoping that you'll just get into those various changes and where you think of the team as a whole going into the season, but really specifically focusing on where you think it puts them going into week one against Philly. So where do you have them now with everything that's happened, including, yes, what happened last week?
Yeah, there's a lot. We talk all the time, and go back to your point. Yes, it's exciting to finally be at the season. It's fun to get the first real game of the season and all that. It's going to be a bit of a buzzsaw if we're not careful. So we'll get to that. Dallas did make a lot of changes. A lot's relative, but some big changes. Starting with coaching. I am very excited actually about this coach's reputation of being a quarterback centric and running game kind of coach, in the sense that he's not looking for people to hero ball, and we don't need Dak to do a lot of superhero type stuff. We need him to just do his job. That's not what we're designed. I don't think that's how this team is designed, is for him to play hero ball. So I am excited. I think he's a good fit. He's a good fit for how I would like the team to go. So I'll take it. Yes, we might as well jump right into it. Micah Parsons, as you've already alluded to, was traded to Green Bay. That was unexpected. We got Kenny Clark in return, who has had some phenomenal seasons at defensive tackle. He was known for a while as a pressure guy on quarterbacks, I think. Now I think he's more of a run blocker, which is what we need. We need a guy to fill in that spot with Odigizua. I'm actually really excited about what that may do in a division where we have running quarterbacks and we have Saquon Barkley. Even the Giants, it's like their best thing on offense is often Tyrone Tracy Jr. So I think that hopefully we're going to be able to have taken a real step towards run defense. So that's the excitement part. I'm somewhat concerned now as to what Sam Williams and Dante Fowler Jr. will probably do as far as chasing quarterbacks down. But I hopefully we've shifted into something we needed more, which was run blocking after last year's performance. Maybe that's the right word. So we'll call it that. But on the defensive side, in specifically in the trenches, I'm excited about that, but I'm concerned about our pressure on the quarterbacks. I don't think we can go with the just send Micah Parsons out, he'll get there eventually kind of approach. I think we're going to have to be much more creative to get pressure. We also go ahead. Yeah, what'd you got?
Oh, no, it's not exactly. It's kind of a comment to go along with that, but It was just like, I was thinking while you were talking, I was like, I do think that Kenny Clark makes you better against the run. And again, I'm not trying to go on too hard about the whole Micah Parsons is more of a pass rusher than a run stopper, but it is what it is. But it should be something of a trade-off. If Ezraku, this guy that you've kind of been talking about in the offseason, if he can come in and be 60%, 50 or 60% of what Micah Parsons was, that could actually have a fairly decent impact. I can't paint a picture where you get a Micah Parsons amount of value out of this year. There's a reason you got 2 first-rounders and Kenny Clark for him, but it might not be quite as death and destruction, metaphorically speaking, as it could have been if Ezraku can come in and be pretty viable pretty quickly. I think week one's asking a lot, but if that can happen, then there's a path to some success there. So I'm sorry, but please continue.
No, I think it's a really good thing to point out, because he is exciting. See where he ends up. He's had some interesting moments in preseason, so hopefully he'll be able to earn his way, beat out his competition there before the end of the season. I think our secondary actually looks pretty good. I think Hooker and Wilson, they're just pretty stable. I think they're solid back there. We re-signed Deron Bland for quite a bit of money. So I think, and him across in principle, him and Diggs are a pretty elite group, I think, at corner. They both had phenomenal seasons in terms of interceptions in particular, and they are enough to scare a lot of quarterbacks. So that's positive. But we need Deron Bland to play like a guy who should make that much money, who should make more money than Trayvon Diggs. We need him to play like that this year. And so hopefully that's just what he's going to do. My bigger concern is in the linebacker core. One of my favorite linebackers that we have is Overshown, who tore basically every ligament there's known to man in his knee at the end of last year, which was devastating, obviously, for him. I hope he recovers quickly. As a fan, that was devastating because I love what he is. And I think he is everything we need in a division with mobile quarterbacks and really talented, dynamic running backs, which is a guy who can cut across the entire field and pick you up. And he's that guy. So he'll be missed for sure. I'm hoping these other guys step up in the middle, but there's a lot of positives on the front and the back. Just where are we at in the middle? The linebacker core, I'll be interested to see. Looking over on the offense, Dak's back. I'm excited about Dak. Dak's, a year removed from having 4,500 yards passing, 36 touchdowns, phenomenal season.
Yeah.
But I'm old enough to remember Cam Newton coming back from an injury when he was at his prime and just not being, it wasn't like he was 95%. He was like 65% of what he was. And you just couldn't really tell until we had gotten in half the season. And no, something's really off and mechanically in his. So I'd love to see Dak come in, pick right back up. But that's my concern is he 99%?
Yeah.
Is he 95%? Where's he at, right? But that's where I'm excited with that. The offensive line, we've talked about this many times. One of the big things this year we do every year in the draft now is we look for a Tyler that plays, on the offensive line, and we try to pick them up before anybody else can get them. We have Tyler Smith we picked up back in 22. We have Guyton and Cooper Beebe that we picked up last year. Now Booker this year, and all of that's exciting. It's young talent on offensive line. They were good enough last year, and the excitement part of that is, they were good enough last year where our backup quarterback played well. CeeDee Lamb had over 1,000 yards. We had a known who was at the time a no-name, Rico Dowdle, run for 1,000 yards. There's a lot of exciting possibilities there of building that cohesion within that group. But the counterpart to that, the concern is they're pretty young, and I wonder what mistakes they'll make. Can we keep Dak upright? And you would normally want to leverage in this moment your running game. I'll just pause there. Javonte Williams may be the greatest thing that happens to Cowboys, but I would be absolutely shocked. So Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams coming in is intriguing. It's like they have reps in the NFL. They've scored some touchdowns. They've run some yards. They both had a fairly decent season before. And so there's reasons to be kind of excited. They shouldn't make a lot of rookie mistakes. But it's like, I wonder if that's all we're asking from them, or did we see something in these guys, in particular in Williams, that we're going to really see on the field? Because defenses are going to have their hands full with our wide receiver core in CeeDee Lamb's and the newly acquired George Pickens is, if we're keeping them and Ferguson all active and running around out there, are they even going to have time to pick up a running back? So are those guys there to be a running back, or are those guys there to be more of an outlet and a blockers? So I don't know. We'll see. The wide receiver core is where everyone's excited. I don't think I know anyone who's not excited about our wide receiver with Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, but also the guys behind that. Tolbert, I think it will be the 3. And that guy quietly picked up 7 touchdowns last year. Nobody even heard about him. And then Turpin's floating around in the background there. And Turpin's claim to fame was that play, which would have been one of the coolest if it hadn't been for Saquon Barkley deciding to 360 over players in the middle of a game, which will go down as one of the, if not the single coolest play I've ever seen in my life, one of the top ones. But he had the play where he started running to his right, 360 spin move back around and change direction, and no one could catch him for the touchdown after he muffed a kickoff. He also had, I think, 6 touchdowns last year. Yeah. So we've got these quiet players in the back. There's a lot of depth there for Dak to use. It's just, how are we going to use that? So there's a lot of positives, and I'm a little, I wouldn't say concerned, but I'm intrigued to see how George fits into the locker room. Dak has his faults. He is not a flawless quarterback in any regard, but he is. I don't think anyone knocks him as a team leader, as a team captain. I think he's known for that. And in that regard, can Pickens come in and fall within that leadership and really ride with it? And when he's getting too high, let Dak bring him back down. When he's too low, let Dak bring him back up. Really fall in and fit in that. If so, I think we're going to have a good season. But I think those are the main changes that I've seen that are going to play a big impact going in our season. That's where I'm excited, and kind of where I'm concerned in each kind of group as we kind of head into the season. A lot of excitement, but still some unknown.
Okay. So bring that into week 1. Playing against the Eagles, obviously huge game. I don't think anyone in the NFL world is giving y'all really much of a chance. But tell me what it is, kind of maybe not even a score. You can tell me the score you want to see too, but like what you want to see from the Cowboys in this game in particular.
Well, the number one thing I would like to see in this game is us show up on the run game. And by that I mean defensively. I think anytime you're playing against Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts for that matter, and there's a real chance that you get on up 200 yards in the rushing game, even if you have a pretty decent run defense. I would like for us to see us not do that. I want to see this, these pickups that we've made make our defense more solid in that regard. If we can force Jalen into the air, AJ's a handful, but I'd rather see Bland and Diggs go at that challenge and try to hold Devonta Smith as well, in check. I'd rather the game end up there than on the ground. I would think that would show huge defensive improvement and shift probably culturally as well on the team. So I would love to see that. Booker is going to have his hands cut out for him in his first real game. It's one of the mini Tylers on guard. I want to see the offensive line not give up a bunch of sacks. That would be nice. If we can do those two things, this becomes more of a shootout, and I'll take my chances in a shootout against Philadelphia. Our best wide receivers and all of that against theirs. I would love to see us be in that position, because I think that we have more of an advantage if we can get it to that point. Last year when we played them, we were never anywhere near that. They could just run through us anytime they wanted to. So I think that would be a huge thing for us to see. I will also be particularly watching Dak. I want to see how fluidly he's moving and how much he really looks like he's back physically within this offense. See how it's changed a bit. Does that make sense? As far as score goes, it's funny. I'd almost like for this to turn into a shootout in the air. If it does, I think that puts us in a good position. But I think that also puts the score in the 21-28, 28-31 kind of atmosphere, which would be a little scary. I don't think that we have the pressure as well yet to get to the quarterback as much as we did last week. Without Micah Parsons. So I think that it kind of lends itself more to becoming a shootout as well. So what about you? Do you see that possibility of a shootout in this one at all? Or you just think, hey, I think week 1, Eagles, who are obviously highly favored in this game and should be, rightfully so, just running away with it?
There's a path, that you kind of described to the Cowboys making this close, or maybe even somehow winning. But it seems like a very slim path. Most of this, I wouldn't have said last year going into this year or in the offseason before any of the craziness happened that you were a Kenny Clark away from having a really good run defense. And you need a really good run defense to stop that Philly run game. So while he might make it not the worst in the league, I have a hard time seeing you allowing less than 150 total yards. I don't mean just 150
100% agree.
To Saquon, but like that would be quite the thing. You know, right now you have Bland and Diggs both healthy. So if AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are not getting 100 yards apiece, that makes some sense. Like if you could convince me that that's going to happen. But the Eagles had some movement this offseason on their defensive line. Milton Williams is the Patriots, Josh Sweat's with the Cardinals. But their offensive line, I think they're pretty much just running it back. And that offensive line might have been the actual key to their success. Everyone's, Saquon Barkley, yay, and he was great.
Sure.
But that offensive line is the key to just about everything for the Eagles. So that, I think, is your major opponent. And while, again, you probably got a little better against the run, I'm not sure that you're going to – I mean, Jalen Hurts might just be standing back there flat-footed. So I will say he's the quarterbacks that I'm less scared of standing back flat-footed. Like if you give Jordan Love 6 seconds, he's just going to rip you apart. Go watch the Cardinals Packers game last year, or better yet, don't. But Jalen Hurts, he's just not that much of a pocket passer. I'm not saying you can't pass in the pocket. It's just not that lethal like some guys are. So that might be your path, but at the same time, they're not going to let it go to that. They're going to run the ball down your throat. And, and I think that's going to be
the
tough.
First thing I would try.
I don't see much of a path to the Cowboys winning this one, but I think what you described is just about right. And I agree, actually, oddly enough, even though we both like defensive games, if you could turn this into a game where at the end it's 27-30 or something like that, that would actually make me somewhat optimistic for the Cowboys this season. So trying not to let that be a backhand. Pardon me, choking.
Be
a backhanded compliment. Try not to be a backhanded compliment there. I do think that there's some encouragement that can be taken out of here, but if you lose 30-10, 30-9, it's going to feel like doom and gloom, at least for me. So we'll see. I'd really like to see the connection with George Pickens. I will say that one specifically.
Yes, agreed. Well, and that's kind of the whole thing is this is a buzzsaw to run into at the beginning of the season. Is you got to go play the Super Bowl champs. Not only that, but they are your rivals, right? Mm-hmm. And they are strong in all the areas you were weak. So it is going to feel like no matter what happens in this game, there's going to be a little feel of or temptation to feel like, well, that's where we are this season. That's what And it's like the next two games after that are very, very winnable games against the Giants and the Bears. It's like, okay, let's see if we can get the parts moving in the right direction this game. And if that works out in a win, I'm all for it. If it doesn't, okay, great. Next game, Giants, next game, Bears. Then we got to go to then we're playing Green Bay, back to the challenge. Can we get the things rolling in the right direction before then see where we really are? I think the first 4 games have the opportunity to be really trend setting as a team going forward. Just not getting too high, not getting too low on this first game. I think it'll be really hard, both from a fan base standpoint, but also from a team player standpoint as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, very good. Well, I'm really excited that the season's just finally here. We just got a few hours until the first game happens, where we will have these questions, at least in some part, answered. So let us know down in the comments what you think. If you're an Eagles fan, just trying to rain on parades, or just gloating, or if you're a Cowboys fan looking for some hope, or maybe you're willing to offer us some hope in the comments of how they might win this game. Just let us know what you think. So everyone enjoy the season. We're looking forward to talking about the Cowboys every week, and we will see you all next